Hello, welcome to another edition of Philately Today. I'm Randall Sherman, Vice President of Publicity and Secretary of the COMPEX Stamp Show, which will be held this coming Memorial Day weekend, May 25th to 27th, 2007, over at the Forest View Educational Center, 2121 South Goebbert in Arlington Heights, Illinois. Just a short drive up Northwest Tollway or Algonquin or Gulf roads from the city. And with me today is one of the members of the board of COMPEX, the secretary of one of its member clubs, the Scandinavian Collectors Club, Norm Andrews. Thanks for coming, Norm.
Thanks, Randy. It's good to be here.
And you know, this will be the 50th annual COMPEX show, and you know, started back in 1958, and we've been and COMPEX stands for the Combined Philatelic Exhibition of Chicagoland. And the reason why it was combined, you want to explain?
Well, we had a lot of local clubs that were holding their own shows, and it got to be that they didn't have the manpower, they didn't have the ability or the space to put on a show.
They didn't have the time because they were conflicting with each other.
Exactly. So we got together and we formed COMPEX. I've been involved in COMPEX now about 35 years. So I don't go back to day one, but I go back
although the Scandinavian Collectors Club is one of the four founding clubs that have been there from day one, and right. along with the Germany Philatelic Society, the Austin Philatelic Club, and the North Shore Philatelic Society.
Right.
And I am a member of all four. In fact, I'm a member of 7 of the 9 COMPEX clubs. We'll get to them shortly.
You know, just something you said there, I think, is something we should expand on a little bit. What is a stamp show, and what is COMPEX? What does it physically look like? Well, we're at Forest View Educational Center, and we take over the entire gym, which is a big field house. We will have over 300 frames of stamps and stamp-related material as exhibits to look at. We also have a dealer's bourse, and a dealer's bourse means that we have 46 dealers at this point that have material for sale. We also have post offices, the United States Post Office is there.
And United Nations
United Nations is there also. So as a collector, you can come in, whether you're an advanced collector or you're just a beginning collector. Maybe you're someone that's curious about stamp collecting. Maybe you're someone that has Uncle Ned's stamp collection that was given to you a few years back, and you've taken a look at it and you've said, gee, maybe I'd like to take and do something with this, or maybe it's time to sell it. These are all things that are available at COMPEX, and it is free. There's no admission, and there's free parking.
So this gives people an opportunity, because to delve into whatever aspect of stamp collecting they're into, because there is no one single way to collect stamps. I mean, as we pointed out, there are a variety of different clubs. Some of them are general-oriented. The Austin and Evanston, New Trier, and North Shore are all general interest clubs, but right. Obviously the Scandinavian Club, which you can talk a little bit about, obviously focuses on the stamps of the Scandinavian
area. Yes, indeed. And not only is this stamps, but we're also looking at philatelic use. This would be stamps on cover. It could be stamp-related material. It could be souvenir cards. There's so many things involved in stamp collecting, and it's a fascinating, fascinating hobby. One of the real joys of stamp collecting is the hunt. You've got something you're going to try to find, and a show like this gives you the opportunity to come out and go through endless dealer stock and find an item or two that you really need.
Yeah, no, you're never going to be able to get everything. I mean, that's not realistic. I mean, you could be collecting for 45 years plus and end up with 100,000 different stamps and covers, and there's so much more, because these days you have 15,000 stamps that are issued worldwide in 1 year alone. So it's you're getting a whole bunch more every year. and such. Once upon a time, yeah, when Franklin Roosevelt was elected president of the United States in 1932, it was a big deal was made out of the fact that he had a stamp collection of 30,000 different items, and back then it was a big deal because, of course, back in the early 30s, there might have been only like 900 stamps issued worldwide. But by the year 2000, it was up to 17,000 and change in a single year. That doesn't count side things like revenue stamps and other assorted miscellaneous material added to the mix. So you could get to 100,000 items fairly quickly these days, and it's not
and not that expensive either. I mean,
trust me.
I know, but to get up to 100,
I'm example one of that.
Yeah, right. You can get up to 100,000 varieties and not have a lot of money tied up in this. This is not necessarily, you know, for years it was called a hobby of kings, and it really is a hobby that you can collect at varying levels. You can collect inexpensive stamps in a time period or a country, or you can go ahead and really get involved in the esoteric stamps that become very expensive.
And we will have an area at COMPEX for beginning collectors. We're going to have an area for the youth, and in fact, we're having like 3 busloads of youngsters from 3 elementary schools in Elmwood Park, I believe, who are coming out to the show on Friday. The first day of the show is a field trip. And they'll be getting some free material, and they're also going to be enjoying the highlight of the show, which we'll get to, is the fact that on Friday the 25th, the first day of the show, we're going to have, it's also the first day of the new Star Wars stamps. And now that since the first of the year, the U.S. Postal Service is releasing all of its issues nationwide on its first day. So while the first day of issue ceremony, the official first day of issue ceremony, will be held in Los Angeles at the Star Wars convention there to mark the 30th anniversary of the first Star Wars picture. You can have first day of sale ceremonies anywhere else, and rest assured, the minute I heard that those stamps were coming out on the first day of the show, I got on the internet so fast, make your head spin, and said, "Oh, we are having a first day of sale ceremony at COMPEX on that day, and that subject is closed." And we are going to have one at 11 a.m. on Friday the 25th, and you're welcome to come. And we will have free ceremony programs to give out to everybody that comes there. And it's going to be a magnificent ceremony. We're going to have speakers. We have the director of the CERN Space Center. We're going to have a lady from the Postal Service who's going to talk about the deployment of those R2D2 mailboxes. By the way, we will have an R2D2 mailbox out in front of the show during the show. So
let's go into that. There is a mailbox now that the U.S. Postal Service is putting out in the shape of the little robot. And I read recently in Linz, and Linz is one of the stamp papers that services our industry.
One of our weekly papers,
Weekly
yes.
papers that's inexpensive to buy and very, very informative in all lines of philately. But they talked about within hours, the first of the mailboxes was stolen.
Oh, dear.
Well, the one we have won't be stolen, but it'll be kind of an interesting thing.
Well,
and we're encouraging people to come out in their costumes, too, if they want.
I mean, there's one downtown. There's several down in Chicago. One that currently located at Michigan and Washington streets.
Okay,
and
I have not seen that.
Well, you probably will. You probably will a couple of nights from now if you swing by. It's a block from where we have our meeting.
Right.
Yeah, I believe there's another one over by the Museum of Science and Industry. Another by I was told by State and Harrison streets. Then they have one in River Grove by the CERN Center. There's one somewhere in Oak Park. A few others across the metropolitan area. It's just a sight to behold. But we're going to have a variety of the speakers. We're having the president of the American First Day Cover Societies coming from his home in Maryland to the show. And he'll be a speaker at the ceremony, and then he'll be a participant at the Cachet Makers Wars, which we need to talk about. We will have a Cachet Makers Wars throughout the entire 3 days of the show. And one thing we need to do is talk about some of these cachets. And what we have here, I have some first day, because one of the clubs that, the newest club of COMPEX is the Chicagoland First Day Cover Society, of which I am the president, as well as being the vice president of Scandinavia and
We get around a lot.
Yeah, well, as I say, I'm a member of seven clubs.
Let's talk about what a first day cover is, because
sure.
I think when we say this, there's going to be people out there that have no concept of what we're talking about. When a stamp is issued, they have a first day ceremony. In other words, this would be the first day that the stamp was available for sale. And you have a cover like this that would have the stamp on it, and then it would have what we call a cachet. And it would be something that would describe, in this case, this is a beautiful cover. That's
the Edward Murrow stamp, which is part of one of my exhibits, which will be of the non-combatant heroes of World War II.
Right.
And so that will be part of the Austin Philatelic Club display, and it'll be a couple of frames.
Right. But you can go in and buy these covers and have them stamped at the show.
Here's another one. With this one here is Glenn Miller, another one of the non-combatant heroes who signed up to be play in the Army band, and we didn't have to, and was tragically, his plane was lost at sea during World War II, and his music legend lives on, and that shows the full first day cancellation. As you can see there, it says first day of issue. This was a fancy version of the first day cancellation. We have another one here, which was another World War II of the non-combatant heroes. One you don't think of, kids, Dr. Seuss. Because before he issued the Cat in the Hat and some other books, during World War II, he did a lot of patriotic cartoons and information for war bond drives, not to mention a very informative video for the soldiers, which is humorous, called The Misadventures of Private Snafu, where Private Snafu would do everything, you see him do everything wrong. The new recruits would be laughing, but they'd be taught what not to do. You don't talk about what you're doing to anybody. You don't do this. You don't do that. You know, and by seeing Snafu, how he screwed up, you know, they avoided doing the same mistakes and probably saved their lives. So he was a hero in World War II without having to fire a gun, and so that's part of an exhibit I have at COMPEX, and that's one of the many features. Now
we've got a few other things here to show, and let's just, as long as we're expanding on what a first day cover is, give me a little description of this, Randy.
Well, this one here is another one of my exhibits, which I'll be showing, which is the which will be a brand new exhibit, obviously, on Ella Fitzgerald, the Black Heritage stamp that came out January of this year. And this is not your typical first day cover. This is by Lloyd DeVries, the former secretary of the American Philatelic Society. He's also the founder of the Virtual Stamp Club, which is a philatelic website that encourages people to go on if you want to learn anything about philately or know what the latest news. That's www.virtualstampclub.org, and then you go to the message board. But he does this dragon cards, and which are card shaped, and they don't rather than a standard envelope. In this case, he took the Ella Fitzgerald stamp, which was the one in the middle, and did a songbook cycle, which is various people she collaborated with, or the various music writers whose work was created during 8 songbooks recorded between 1956 and 1964. And you see the various years, like Cole Porter and Rodgers and Hart, were in 1956. The Gershwins, their music she recorded in 1959. Johnny Mercer, 1964. Duke Ellington, 1957. Irving Berlin, 1958, and so forth. So these previous stamps were issued beforehand, right. And so you have the Ella Fitzgerald with the first day cancellation, and then they just had the regular date cancellation that this thing came out with, canceled the unused stamps for these previous issues. This is called combination cover.
Right,
In
and
this
this
case,
is another whole area of collecting.
and as I say, so we have the First Day Cover Society, and what we will have is an opportunity, folks, to have a in addition to the ceremony we'll have on Friday morning. So you get to see a full-fledged ceremony. You'll get a ceremony program and such. And later that day, we'll have a meeting of the Chicagoland First Day Cover Society at 2:00. Talk about the local society and some of the activities we'll have. The following day at noon, Chris Lazaroff, the president of the American First Day Cover Society, who will be there. He's one of the cachet makers who will be selling stuff along with his wife. She's now, interesting that she's joined up, and she's now decided, well, it's a nice idea. Maybe I'll draw my own cachets.
Do you have some more?
I don't have more stuff, but we'll have a regional meeting of the First Day Cover, American First Day. Here's another one of the stuff. This is here's an actual page of the exhibit for, honoring non-combatants. And this was the Alaska Highway, and you can see right there, this shows that one of the things they did in early World War II was they needed a land route to get to Alaska, because back then we didn't have land access. So they basically, in 1942, in a span of about 10 months, was able to create a road of going from Edmonton, Alberta, where basically the existing roads ended, up to Fairbanks, Alaska, and secured to make sure that it's been a secure land connection to the rest of the continent ever since. And this was an incredible engineering achievement. And you have a couple of things, and this is one of Chris Lazaroff's cachets, by the way, down here, which he did again as a combination, because he added the original Alaska statehood stamp of 1959 to the cachet, because of the tie-in, a previous Alaska stamp. And before above is another cachet maker, Faith Cachet, that shows the route, and there's a lonely stretch of road that they built out of the wilderness, and it's a good opportunity to see. And basically, what the exhibits do, they tell stories, and some of the exhibits we'll have there are exhibits that some of the people have won awards at national level shows. This technically is a local show. It's not like with the intense competition that you'll see at the other show we have in the Chicago area each year, ChicagoPEX, which is the weekend before Thanksgiving, which I'm also involved because I'm secretary of the Chicago Philatelic Society and publicity chairman for that show. But the point is that you'll see a lot of the exhibits are of that level, and basically we show a lot of material, and as I say, and then there's stuff that's just beginning material. Kids that's doing. Now here's an example of a ceremony program. This was a program
Let's start it out with the front.
Yeah, this is Percy Julian, and this was one of the this another non-combatant hero. He had some he developed chemicals, fire retardants that saved a lot of guys who were burnt from burns and such during World War II. And then he was a civil rights pioneer. He was the first. He and his wife were the first African-American family to move into Oak Park. And
by the way, I was living in Oak Park when Percy moved in. I was not in Oak Park High School at the time his children came into the school. Mm-hmm. I had graduated already, but my brother and sister both went to school with them, and that was a real momentous time for Oak Park when that happened.
Yeah, and now, of course, his birthday is a town holiday.
Right.
And such.
Exactly.
And of course, he's after he died, the Chicago Board of Education named the high school for him on the south side. So,
so that really what we have then is there's a number of ways if you're interested in collecting new issues used on a first day. You could have the first day cover, and here's another one we haven't seen.
Ernie Pyle.
You could do this, or you can collect it in a folder where it is first day canceled as a souvenir. Some people collect both. Some people
collect a variety of things. Also, you have a variety of form. We talk about Scandinavia, for instance. Scandinavian themes.
Exactly. I happen to collect a wide range of Scandinavian stamps. I happen to collect not only the stamps used of Scandinavia, but I also collect on a very deep basis. I collect finished stamps from and covers from the Winter War. When
the Winter War being, of course, 1939
to 1940, when Russia invaded Finland for the Karelia Peninsula. I collect postal use, collect postage dues, I collect official mail, just a whole wide range of things. It's a wonderful hobby because you reach a point where you say, well, I've gone as far as I can go here, and then another door opens for you. I've also collect town cancels of Sweden, and we find
explain what a town cancel is.
Okay, this would be a cancel on a stamp, much as we have looked at on the first day, only it would be maybe the town of Stockholm. Just take an example. And over a period of 60 years, 100 years, Stockholm has used many different types of canceling devices. And I like to get a cancel that you can read the town and you can read the date of use. And Sweden has about 6,500 towns that have had canceling devices, so it becomes, as I alluded to before, a fabulous hunt to find things.
So some of them are obviously far more obscure than the
Oh yeah, some of them are unobtainable, and there's others that you see, like Stockholm I mentioned, or Örebro, or some of the other towns. You find them, they're a dime a dozen. But in Stockholm alone, there's probably 70 or 80 different canceling devices they use. So you could put a collection together inexpensively of just the different canceling devices.
Now, one of the meetings we're having at Scandinavian Collectors Club will be meeting at 1 o'clock on Saturday, May 28th.
Right.
And it'll be also having an auction of material.
We have an auction of material. Club members donate items, and we do sell that. And we've always had a good crowd for that. We have a lot of fun.
Because you have a lot of interesting material, and people, and we've seen a lot of young people come by, often pick up something for a couple buck or two, and they say, "I got something."
Yeah.
And it's really nice and such. So we just need to go over quickly the various schedule of events. Now the show will be open from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. on Friday and Saturday, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. on Sunday. And again, it's free admission, free parking.
Acres of free parking.
And if you need public transportation, that's available too. From Chicago, you can take the 208 bus from the Davis Street station on the Purple Line in Evanston, goes on down Gulf Road to Goebbert, and then it's a 3-block walk south. Or Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. Friday or Saturday, you can also take the 606 bus from the Rosemont station on the Blue Line. It'll take you to Algonquin and Goebbert. Then it's a 2-block walk north to the show site. So you can get there by public transportation if you don't have a car. Now let's quickly go over after the first day of sale ceremony at 11 o'clock on Friday. Well, you'll have an opportunity to then autograph the ceremony progress by those who are participating. We have a seminar by Jock Schiff, who is an auctioneer.
An auctioneer.
Has two. This is one on Friday. It'll be how to participate at a stamp auction for buyers and sellers at 1. Followed at 2 by the Chicagoland First Day Cover Society meeting. Saturday, we'll have the regional meeting of the American First Day Cover Society at noon. Along with another Jock Schiff seminar, how to protect yourself from buying doctors' stamps and covers. We're very appreciative of Mr. Schiff to come and provide and give these seminars, which are free educational opportunities for people to learn more about how to enjoy the hobby and how to avoid some of the pitfalls. Then we, at 1 o'clock, as I said, we have the meeting and auction of Scandinavian Collectors Club. 2 o'clock, we have a meeting of the Germany Philatelic Society, Chicagoland chapter. That evening, we have the COMPEX Awards Banquet over at the Wellington of Arlington, which is a couple of blocks west of the show site on Arlington Heights Road. Sunday, we have meetings at 11 a.m. of the Space Topic Study Group. At 11, also 11, the British North American Philatelic Society. We invite, these are groups that are not COMPEX members, but we invite various clubs and organizations the opportunity to have their meetings here. That way that people can get a wider range of philatelic activities. Noon, we have a meeting of the Illinois Postal History Society. Another one of our COMPEX clubs, the Baden-Powell Scouts and Stamp Society, will have a meeting at 1 p.m. Incidentally, the theme of COMPEX...
I was just going to say, isn't it time we talk about
the
what
theme. We have a couple of minutes. The theme this year, which we set up long before we knew there was going to be a Star Wars stamp, is honoring the 100th anniversary of organized scouting. And we'll have a bunch of exhibits on scouting, obviously, from there, and we'll probably see if we can put together something to at least display a listing of some of the stamps that are being issued around the world. And there have been, I think, like close to 24 different countries that will have issued stamps in 2007, because it's the Europa issue. The European countries are all doing their stamps, their annual issue based on the 100th anniversary of scouting, because it's a nice, non-controversial subject for them. It makes a lot of money.
Right.
It's a no-brainer for them. And so, some of them have. I've seen them on the internet. Some of them look very nice, and some of them don't. But hopefully we can put something together, and you can be the judge.
Every year at the show, someone will walk in and say, "Hey, I collected stamps when I was a kid. I've got an album. I want to get back into collecting. What can I do? How do I do this? Where should I start?" We have not only advice for you at the front desk, because we have club members that will be there to help you, but we'll take you around to different dealers. We'll give you a little background. There's a lot of things that we can do to get you back into stamp collecting. And
it is a great opportunity. It's an opportunity for the entire family, whether you're 8 or 80. Norm, thank you once again. Remember, COMPEX will be Friday, Saturday, Sunday, the 25th through 27th of May. We encourage you to come out. If you want further information, you call 773-744-8839, 773-744-8839 for further information. And I'll be glad to give you all the information you want. And on behalf of all the members of the 9 COMPEX clubs, this is Randall Sherman, the Vice President of Publicity and Secretary of COMPEX 2007. Take care, and we'll see you at COMPEX 2007.
We're looking for you.